Okay girls, just some mathswatch help here, and this is going to help you with the more difficult questions. Don't worry if you couldn't do some of them, because we're not in class and these are different skills but really test your knowledge, so this is going into more depth like some of you students asked for. So this is one of the questions on mathswatch. It's one of the more challenging ones. So you've got to select the equation of a straight line that is parallel to this line. So first we've got to use our y equals mx plus c skill. So we divide both sides by 4 so we can see what the gradient is. So y will equal now 3 over 4x plus 5 over 4. So the gradient m equals 3 over 4 now. That is the gradient of that line. So you have to match it with all of this and see which letter has a gradient of 3 over 4. Because you know that parallel lines will have the same gradient. Now I'm not going to go through each question, but you can see this gradient here is 3. That's not the same as 3 over 4. But can you see this is not in the form of y equals mx plus c. But if we divide both sides by 4, you'll get y equals 3 over 4x minus 1 over 4. So that answer must be B. Now girls, you do have the skills to do these questions. It's just that it's in a different format. So the cos is c, but this is like the y-axis. The number of miles is n, but that's like calling that x. So instead of y equals mx plus c, it's now going to be c, the cost, I'm going to write it like this so you understand, cost equals the gradient and n, the number of miles, plus a constant c. So using our knowledge, that little c I'm going to say is 3. So c equals 3, and that represents pounds. So this is like modelling a taxi journey. So the gradient, we still use our same skills. Let's find somewhere that we can find the gradient. So I would use this because it crosses here. And this is a harder type question. I'll give it a grade 6 because it's in context, it's AO2. And I hope you can see that. So what is this height? It goes from 3 to 6, so that height is 3. Now the number of miles is 5, it goes from 0 to 5. So the gradient m equals 3 over 5. So we can write that down now. So the cost is going to be 3 over 5n plus 3. So you could write that as that. And that will cause confusion because you're used to that as being written as y equals 3 over 5x plus 3. That's essentially the same thing. They've just renamed these letters. Hope that really helps you all. So another mathswatch question that I know that you have actually got the skills to do this. It's just in a different context, so it's a bit confusing. And these are the harder questions, and I was just being a bit brave to give you these. But you're doing well for giving it a go. So don't stress if you can't do these, because these need to be explained to you as well. So find the coordinates of the point where y minus 4x equals 1 crosses the y-axis. If it crosses the y-axis, then you need to know that x equals 0 at this point, right? Can you see here? X will be 0. So let's substitute 0 in to this formula. You don't even need to rearrange it because x equals 0. So y minus 4 times 0 equals 1. 4 times 0 is 0. So y equals 1. So the actual coordinate, because x equals 0, y equals 1, will just be 0, 1. Like so. Now find the value of k. This diagram shows you this coordinate here. So what we need to do here is y equals 2x plus c. Now, some of you may be getting this wrong because of the way mathswatch asks for the answer, but you can see c here equals minus 3. So then we can write y equals 2x minus 3. That's a good step. That should get you a mark. So it says find the value of k. Well, we know k is just a number, but so that k is just a number, and that's the x coordinate, and the 10 is the y coordinate. We found the equation of the line, so we can sub this in to find x. So y is 10 equals, we can just swap the x for the k because that's the x coordinate, so that's going to be 10 equals 2k minus 3. Now we've got to use our problem solving skills or solving equation skills, so we plus 3 on both sides. So 13 equals 2k. You should know you divide by 2 to find out what k is. So k equals 6.5, and that's all we need to do with that question. And that's it. That's probably the ideal way that I would do that. Now, this one here, match the graph showing one of the following equations. So this is AO2, AO3 skills, higher level ability skills, and making sure you can match the graphs. Now, all I can say of this graph is you can look at it, you know the gradient is negative. So using process of elimination, it can't be that one, because that's got a positive gradient of 1. That gradient is 1. Now, can you look, we don't know what the intercept is. We don't know what c is here. Right, we don't know what c is. So we've just got to think, well, c here, that's above 0, so it's got to be a positive number, right? So it can't be minus 2, because minus 2 is down here somewhere. Well, that's plus 0, so c equals 0 here, so it can't be that one, so that answer must be D. That should make sense to you now. So, now this final one is, we probably haven't had enough practice on this. Which one of the following points lie on the line 3y equals 2x minus 1? Well, if it lies on the line, that means this coordinate will fit that equation. So let's try that. That is x2 here, y equals minus 6. So what is 3 times minus 6, that is minus 18, equals 2 times 2 is 4, minus 1, so minus 18 equals 3. Well, they don't equal, so that can't be on the line. Let's try c now. So x is 2 here, y equals 1. So let's do the y. So 3 times 1, that's substituting the y, equals 2 times 2 minus 1, so that's 3. Does 3 equal 4 minus 1? 3 equals 3, and so that is correct. So that is one of the answers. I'm not going to go through each and every one. You can try that because there could be more than one right answer for this one, but I'm going to let you work that out yourselves. It's just substituting those numbers in and making sure that it works like this. So if you get 5 equals 5, it must line that line. That coordinate must line that line. I will do one more for you just so you see. X is minus 2 here, y equals 1. So you've got 3 times 1 for here, because y is 1. So that's going to be 3 equals, what's 2 times minus 2? That's minus 4. Minus 1, well, you don't need to work that out. You know that can't be on a line either. Hopefully that makes sense to you now, girl. Right guys, this is a grade 7 question I rate it as, and it is got a high level of difficulty because you're applying your skills in context, multiple skills, and you've got to read this carefully. So I suggest you should draw a picture of this to help you see it, and that will be a sketch of the picture. So you can really visualize the problem. These types of problems you should always draw it. Now I'm going to show you the ideal solution. I'm going to explain it. So prove that DE is parallel to BC. DE is there. and BC is there. So this point is you have to use your gradient formula between 2 points. So that is going to be y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So that's y2, that's y1, x2, x1. So y2 is minus 2 minus 4 divided by x2, which is 2 minus 2. Remember that changes to a plus, two negatives next to each other, plus. So that actually becomes 2 over 4, which equals 0.5. Now, that's the first step that I would do. Now this midpoint part, how do you find the midpoint? So the coordinate of D is the midpoint of AB. So you've got to use your midpoint formula, add the two coordinates together. So you've got 4 plus 2 divided by 2. Remember the midpoint formula will be 6 divided by 2 is 3. So point D, the x coordinate is 3. Add the y coordinates together. Well, that is minus 6 plus minus 2 will equal 4. And divided that by 2 will equal 2. So D is a coordinate 3, 2. E is the midpoint of AC. Well, you do the same thing. So what's 4 add minus 2 over 2 to get the midpoint? So E, and that's going to equal 1. And AC, so that's AC. So 6 add minus 4 is 2. Divided by 2. So that's also going to become 1. So E is the coordinate 1, 1. So you find the gradient of DE now. So again, that's your y2, your y1, x1, x2. So gradient of DE will equal 2 minus 1. That's your y2 minus y1 divided by your x2, which is 3 minus 1. So you're going to get 1 over 2. That equals 0.5. And you know parallel lines have the same gradient, which is this statement. So they are parallel. So I'll give that a grade 7 minus because it's a lot of skills and you can see a lot of problem solving and applying your skill, which is a much more challenging skill. And if you can understand that now, then that's really good. I'm really happy if you just understand that question. Right guys, this is actually a grade 8 question that I snuck into your assignment just to give people a secret extension without putting pressure on you. So guys, in my maths watch activities, I know that and believe that you are a smart and gifted class and you just need good teaching to push you to the next level. So this is the question and that's the diagram of it. Why it's a grade 8 is because you have to apply so many skills. Now, this type of question is like an exam question and will appear in something like further maths as well. And it will appear towards the end of your paper, the end of your GC Year 11 paper. So this is a Year 11 topic. So we've got this line, that's the equation of line L. And if we rearrange that, it's actually 3y equals 18 minus x, if you minus x to both sides. Now, once we divide both sides by 3, that line becomes y equals 6 minus x over 3. So you can see m equals minus a third here, which explains why that line is going downhill. Now AD are on the points on the straight line M. So this whole point is that is perpendicular. Is at right angles. They should really state that, but they don't. They make it difficult by saying ABCD is a rectangle, and you have to know that rectangles they're all right angles, right? So that's your perpendicular clue. So don't worry if you can't do this question, guys. You're not expected to be able to do this at all. Now I'm going to show you what I would say is a very ideal solution, because it's going to be easier for me to explain. So I've explained up to here, line L. Now if you've kept up to date with perpendicular lines, you know that M1 times M2 has to equal -1 for the lines to be perpendicular. So the gradient of M, of line M has to be 3 here for line M. So that's where we know that Y has to equal 3x plus C for line M, which you can see here. Okay, so guys, this is, after looking at it in more detail, this is actually probably a grade 9 question, because of all the skills you have to apply. And this, consider this as a super extension. If you understand a bit of it, really good, but it's not a big deal if you're not too sure. So what I'm going to go through now is we need the coordinate of A or D to work out C, but they don't give it. So you've got to find this from the information they give you. But we can find B because the coordinate of B, we know that we've got to work out what X is, but Y is 0 here. You can see that. So if we have the equation X plus 3Y equals 18. Now we know Y equals 0 here, right, on the point B. So that means X has to equal 18, because 3 times 0 is 0. So if this distance is 18 from E to B, then from E to A, that has to be 18 because of this key bit of information here, AE equals EB. So we know the one coordinate of A has to be -18, and we don't know what Y is, but we will need to find the Y coordinate to work out this, the equation of line M. Okay, so let's think, -18, so we've got the equation here, X plus 3Y equals 18. We know the coordinate of A is -18, so we can substitute that in. -18 plus 3Y equals 18. Let's plus 18 on both sides. So you get 3Y equals 36. Divide by 3, divide by 3, so Y equals 12. So we know A is -18, 12. Now A lies on M. The line lies on line M. So now we can use this to substitute into here to find out the equation of the line. So 12 is going to equal what's -18 times 3 plus C. -18 times 3 is -54 plus C. So we're going to plus 54 on both sides, plus 54 on both sides. So that's 66 equals C. Now we're almost done. This is going to be like worth 4 or 5 marks in your exam. So you've got Y equals 3x plus 66, which explains this working out here. If you understood some of that, fantastic work, really good, well done.